Good morning, everyone. This is Travis Witherspoon from Carter Cow Capital. This is another morning episode of Trade with Travis. Hope everybody's doing very well. I have 8:17 a.m. About 13 minutes before the forest market starts to open up, and a little bit less than a little bit more than an hour, then the stock market is going to end up opening up. So let's go ahead and take a look at some overall pairs to see what we have for its overall trading activity, and let's see if there's some overall setups that we can be able to take advantage of. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. I understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money. Also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So with that being said, as we end up taking a look at yesterday, and as we end up taking a look at last night, in which last night was the first session that we ended up doing a 9 p.m. session. We'll probably end up doing that again tonight. If you're interested in being able to do that, that'll be at 2100 hours for everyone that is looking at this from a 24-hour clock standpoint. But we will probably end up doing that tonight. As we end up taking a look at it, we end up saying that today was going to end up still being a trader's day. There's still going to end up being, I still don't see any unforeseeable news that's going to end up rocking in market from a economic news standpoint. The biggest thing that ended up coming out was the consumer price index for Germany. They actually end up being as expected. So we'll see how that kind of ends up affecting the overall market, but there's really nothing else. We're going into the last 2 days of the overall month. So remember, typically right at the end of the month, you end up having that one big pop of a move. And I think we ended up getting that last week. And then after that, you'll start to see either a retracement or a continuation of what's going to end up happening going into the next month. And I think that we're in a position to where we're starting to see a transition trade starting to really kind of follow through. So we probably might end up going with that. So I'm going to be very quick when it comes down to these pairs. And see if there's any type of opportunity in them. If there's not, then we'll go ahead and move forward. For the people that are watching live, first off, thank you for being here to watch live. I do appreciate that. Please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button if I end up providing value. And obviously, if you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about what I end up doing from a manual perspective and a automation perspective, all you have to do is type in me and send me a private message when it comes down to if you would like to be able to learn a little bit more. That includes being able to have your email. So I can be able to personally contact you with the information for being able to get that done. So let's go ahead and take a look at the big three and get that out the way, and then after that, we'll talk about everything else. So start off with United States dollar index. United States dollar index, from what we ended up seeing yesterday, um, was starting to show a little bit of a double top. From a weekly perspective, the market is still considered to be bullish. It was starting to push up. There's a D extension that's expected to be hit at 13,512. So we're still kind of paying attention to that move to the upside. From a daily perspective, we're seeing that this market is starting to possibly reject, but obviously the market hasn't moved as of yet. We'll see that at 8:30, and that possibly may end up giving us a better opportunity and a better idea about what's going to end up happening for us. But as we ended up talking about yesterday, if that does start to reject, then after that we can kind of build out a consolidation and it turns into a R4 type of trade instead of turning into a R3. There's a major difference between an R4 and an R3 trade. The primary difference is that when one is in consolidation, that means that we're patient and we just wait until the market ends up breaking out. If it's in a push zone and it keeps on pushing up, then that means that we need to be a little bit more aggressive. Currently, right now, we're at a point where we're in kind of limbo. We don't know what's going to end up happening. So it's kind of one of those things to where I'm just kind of wait and see how it's going to end up affecting the market. So United States dollar index, still not going to take a look at anything at that particular point. Gold is very simple. We talked about it before. We've been talking about it for the last few weeks. I haven't been trading gold all that much this year because of what we're seeing inside of here. We're still inside our large consolidation block. I wouldn't want to do anything until the market either ends up bouncing off of 1685 or breaking from 1685 or being able to push up past that 1872 point, and then after that start to push up. But I don't think the market is really kind of fearful about what's happening globally overall when it comes down to the United States dollar. That's why I think the United States dollar is still showing a little bit more dominance when it comes down to this movement in this pair. United States dollar has been very strong overall this year, if we're just being very honest, and taking a look at most of these pairs. So It kind of goes back to what I end up remembering in 2018 and 2019 before the market kind of fell off during the pandemic. So this one I'm not going to end up paying attention to, nothing all that much. Oil was the one that I started to get, that my ears started to perk up a little bit more based off of this move. The reason why I say that is that we end up having a counter trend line break, full counter trend line break off the weekly, which meant that the market is ready to start being able to make a move. We can see that it's in the buy zone. Off of the daily, it was a little bit overbought at this particular point, but we do have a true counter trend line break and we do have a true retest. Remember, when there's a breakout and a retest, then typically you end up having to move to the upside. So oil will probably end up being one of those ones that I would truly kind of pay attention to that could possibly move up to the upside. Now, the other thing that I also end up saying was that I thought that we were probably going to end up seeing a little bit of a king's crown, which meant that this could be the start of a strong reversal pattern that could necessarily happen. Remember that start or that reversal pattern could start right here at the left tip of this overall movement over here right around 114. So possibly could see that this may end up being a big move to the upside. And then after that, you may end up seeing the market start to be able to falter and be able to fall off from there. Now, because of that, and because the market is a little bit overbought at this particular point, I am going to end up kind of staying away from it, at least for right now, and kind of seeing what's going to end up happening. But before then, I am kind of interested to see how this market is going to end up reacting in the next few minutes before being able to truly make a decision off of that. Let's see. So done with that. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening with the index pairs real quick. And then after that, I'll take a look and see what's happening with Bitcoin. Last night we ended up talking about, or yesterday we ended up talking about how this market on US 30 was in consolidation. We ended up saying that if there was an opportunity to be able to trade one pair, it probably would be US 30. And it said that it could go all the way up to 32,400. I ended up getting into a trade yesterday. And I ended up having I had a 100-point trail stop. It ended up going up. What's going on, Steven? It ended up going up. It ended up going up 115 points. I only got what 15 points off of it because I had a 100-point trail stop that ended up kicking in late. So kind of kicking myself in the foot when it came down to that. So I stopped trading it. Last night it ended up making this huge wedge, and then after that broke out of the wedge and pushed up. Got very close to being able to break past that 400 point again, and then since then the market has reacted to the downside. So currently, right now, this is a wait and see type of move off of this. This is not building a consolidation block. This is not doing anything else off of that. Obviously, we know that the market is bearish. So I think that, matter of fact, I'm not even going to show that counter trend line break because I'm still not interested in being able to trade it to the upside aside from scalping it. So we're still going to have to wait for the setup on US 30. There's really no setup to be able to put in place at this particular point. If the market does push up, once again, we were talking about the midpoint of where this market could push up overall. Hey, Steven, if you have a pair that you want to take a look at, place it in the chat box. We said that it could possibly go up to this block right here, right before the start of that previous consolidation from July 28th all the way until August 10th. But at this particular point, there's really no move to be able to work off of that. I have a pending sale order that is set up and ready to go at 31,715 with a stop loss of 31,895 and then a take profit of 31,350. But obviously, that's a long ways from being targeted. So right now, really nothing to do off of Dow Jones. So we kind of just play that by ear. We take a look at what's happening with German 40. German 40 has done a huge retracement from that movement. We was talking about this one before. We said that this wasn't consolidation. We said that this was a continuation type of phase and trying to see if this market was going to end up basically pushing back up to this consolidation because it was a breakout and if there was going to be a retest. That has a retest. This retest movement has happened. I'll take a look at CAD again. This retest has happened at this particular point. The question is, are we going to truly get a true rejection off of this point? If we take a look at this based off of the 15-minute, we can see that the market started to get parabolic. So if you want to call this a inner trend line break, you actually could, because there it is right there. Typically, when the market breaks a inner trend line break, it'll gravitate towards the outer. Now, I will say that because it ended up pushing up past this point and hit this little mid portion of this, um, end up pushing up to this mid portion of this volume profile. I think there's a better chance of this market that it could continue to keep on going up at least to the midway point before actually breaking down. The 15-minute is in the buy zone, so I'm going to be a little bit more patient off of this one. I want to see how this market kind of reacts. I do see that this one candlestick by itself is an engulfing candlestick, so this could be a reason to be able to make a scalp. Um, Not necessarily sure if I want to be able to take it. Um, but it is pushing to the downside. Let's see how much risk would I have if I do that. 53 points. Where would you like this thing to go? I would actually trade it the same way that I did it the last. Well, not trade it the same way that I did the last time, because you have to move up the stop. But I would trade it back here and see if it can be able to hit that spot. The question is, do I really want to do that? What would be the reward? 121. Risk and system. I'll take it. I'll take a try off of it. Um, Here we go. I'm going to take a scalp off of this one. Let's see, go back. I'm just going to trade it back to the out. I'm going to trade it back to the inner trend line. So I'm going to take a sale on. I'm going to take a sale on DAX. Once again, just a scalp move. Let's see. Position size calculator. Everybody, just give me a second as I'm trying to place this in. I'm just trying to. Stop loss will be above the overall high 13,160. My question is that going to build a consolidation? I can see that the 15 minutes in the buy zone. That's the only thing that I do not like, because that means that just because we had this strong move doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to end up getting a strong push. This market could push back up to this halfway point, and then after that fall. It hasn't broke past. It hasn't broke past this overall low right here. Okay, 13,160 will end up being a stop loss. Take profit. If I'm projecting this out, I'll project it right back down to this point at 12,936 or 12,940. I will put a trail stop on this one, probably 35 points just to be safe. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that now before I lose equity off of that. I mean, risk reward off of all that. So just took a trade on this one. This is my short position right here, just above the overall fractal high. Take profit. I'm going to right there, 12,940. Risk reward of 2.96. I only did 1% of my account, even though probably could have risked a little bit more. But if anything, we have an inner trend line break. I could make a case for this market basically doing this and popping right there. But I am going to have a 35-point trail on this one. So if it does pop back after going quickly, then I won't be mad about that. So trail stop is in as well. All right, so there we go. German 40. I'm gonna keep this up here for a quick second. That is a market order currently at this particular point. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening with NAS 100. NAS 100 is doing somewhat of the same. Remember, we have those pending orders in based off of yesterday at 12,380 or right around that 12,380 to 12,390 area. That would be that area right here. I also end up noticing that obviously the biggest peak when it came down to volume was right around 12,450. Um, so I actually ended up placing in another order at 12,450. Now that's a little bit more of an aggressive order. This is proven to not be consolidation. I think that it's proven to be more of a continuation, kind of like what I ended up talking about with what's happening with DAX. So we're looking at that. That is your inner trend line, the outer trend line break right there, and then seeing how the market's going to end up moving. I will not take a trade on DAX. I will not take a trade on US 30 solely because, one, I think that the risk reward factor will end up being off if I want to do that move. I just wait to see if this market's going to end up um, breaking below this overall consolidation area where it end up finding support. If that does happen, then I'd be fine with that. Um, if not, then I'm not worried on being able to take that trade. So only trade that I have in currently right now is what's happening with German 40. We'll see how that kind of reacts and kind of plays off at this particular point. Early signs is good, but we'll see how the market kind of reacts and kind of plays off at this particular point. Let's go ahead and take a look at CAD Yen. And if there's any other pairs that people are interested in being able to get into, please don't hesitate to be able to ask. All right, here we go. From a weekly perspective, this market's in an R3 position. It's expected to go up to 109.75 as a D extension. The last time I ended up taking a look at this market was in consolidation based off of the move, but it was in a triangle portion of the consolidation. I'm going to extend this out and see if it's still in consolidation. It actually is still in consolidation. So with that being said, Stephen, I think that you watched a lot. Watched a few of my live streams to be able to know that I don't like trading inside of consolidation. So I would personally pass. But let's see what's happening off the daily. Yeah, I would personally pass on this one. I wouldn't do anything solely because the market is in the sell zone. Um, that means that the market could potentially fall, but the stochastic really doesn't mean that much when the market is in consolidation. But currently, right now, it went from being in a wedge and breaking out of that wedge to finding support down here right around 102 and finding the resistance right around 106.80. So let's say 107. So there's really no move for me to be able to truly be happy to be able to take unless it ends up breaking out of one of those positions. So currently, right now, if I was you, if I'm not in a position, I don't know if you're in a position now. Are you in a position? Let me ask you that question. Are you in a position? And see, Stephen, are you in a position on this one? What's going on, Peter? I hope everything's going well with you. Pete? Okay, so yeah, I would just be patient. I just wait. I just wait. There's no reason to sit up there and jump in this area. It's still a 33% area right here. Until it ends up truly breaking out, there's really no good thing to be able to do. So just to be able to review real quick, end up taking a trade on German 40. As I end up bringing it up, I said that this could be a scalping opportunity. It broke the inner trend line, or trying to see if it's going to move to the outer trend line. I said I was going to be kind of quick on this one because the market is in the buy zone, and I didn't know if this market was going to end up reacting to be able to fall. We can start to see that the market's kind of retracing a little bit based off of this original move. Um, and seeing if it's going to end up pushing back up. I do think that it could fall back to the original area where it did fall at 12,940. Stop loss is just above the overall swing high, and currently right now, because of that, leave that alone. Because of that, that is the move that I'll be able to take. I put a 35-point trail stop on it. So we'll see how that kind of reacts. This is a 1% trade for me. This is something that I'm not necessarily. Baby, I'm in a live stream, baby. I'm gonna play the phone. No, baby. You have your tablet. Go get your tablet. Okay, so I just need to just put the phone to me. No. Yeah. How about this? Stop being rude and say hey. I'm not gonna be rude. I know. So say hey to everybody. I don't want to say hey. Say hey. No. Jeez. You ain't gonna say hey? Mm-mm. All right. I get it out once I get done with this, okay? Okay. Go talk to mommy. Like I said, market's done broke this inner trend line. We're seeing that it's gravitating towards the outer trend line. I'm trying to see if I can be able to get it all the way down to where it ended up originally falling at. This is not one of those trades where it's kind of like the vortex trade where you end up having a built up consolidation, then you end up having that breakout. Currently, right now, there's really no move off of that, but we end up going from there. We'll talk about NASDAQ again. It's going to end up being very quick when it comes down to that mindset until the market gets into 930. It was a consolidation, broke out of consolidation just a little bit. Currently, right now, it's making that same type of inner trend line, the outer trend line move. I think this is more of, once again, building a consolidation block to be able to work off of. This would be the second day if it stays inside of this consolidation that you'll be able to kind of see what a consolidation is going to form and what a trade is going to end up being formed at. Currently, right now on NAV on J's. Currently, right now on NAS 100, there's really no move to be able to take, Peter. Not yet. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything with it, not yet. Currently right now, I think the best move is the move that we're in currently. It's what's happening with DAX. Stop loss on that one was at 13,160. Take profit at 12,940. Once again, I will look at being able to say, because this market has shown this to be your support, shown that to be your support, shown that to be your support, there's going to be some type of support that's probably going to end up being about right here. This market has went parabolic, so it broke an inner trend line. Typically, when it breaks an inner trend line, it will gravitate towards the outer trend line. That's the reason why I put a 35-point trail stop on. So if it does pop back up, at least I'll be able to get something off of it. And currently, right now, that's the move that I'm expecting. That's probably going to end up happening. Now, doesn't necessarily mean that the market's going to fall down to the floor. It just means that that's the move that I'm expecting to be able to happen. Now, if it turns around quick, then I just go ahead and take the quick little bit of amount that I have, or look at this being able to take the quick loss. But I would like to be able to win off of this more than anything else. Obviously, I think anybody would want to be able to win every trade that you end up taking. Okay, so as the market is about to open up, I see that Dow Jones is in the sell zone. I'm seeing that same type of U-turn and turnaround. The question is there going to end up being any type of news that's going to end up making the market move to the downside? Currently, right now, I don't see anything, but can always be wrong. Okay, I don't see anything with that. So I'm gonna call it for this morning. Obviously, we got the one trade on DAX. We'll see how that kind of plays out. Hopefully, that ends up playing out to everybody's favor. If you don't feel comfortable with the 35-point trail stop, then use a 25-point trail stop. Once again, just to be able to make sure that you end up winning off of it. Or if you don't feel comfortable taking it at all, then obviously don't check it out. Could I check US yen also? US yen, was it in consolidation yesterday when we was looking at it? That was in consolidation, but oh no, we end up. I remember what we ended up saying. Hold on, it's on the wrong one. Did you take that buy, Peter? Did you take the buy on USN? I did not take the buy. I wrote it up and I showed everybody, but I did not take that buy. I seen it last night. Hold on, which chart did I do it off of? Okay, there was the daily. Oh, okay, I remember now. Okay, so yesterday what we ended up saying was this. Oh, looking for a counter trend line break for this market to be able to make a push. There was a D extension that was at 139.23. The market ended up breaking a counter trend line break and end up being up bullish for a little bit. It only went up 38 points. I did not like the amount of retracement that it did. That's the reason why I did not pull the trigger. But it did break a counter trend line break. Since then, it has made a new lower low. And because it has made a new lower low, that means that you have to adjust your overall trend line to be able to um, basically represent what that actual break will end up being at this particular point. So the market will have to break this trend line break before actually being able to make a move off of that. Um, so currently, right now, same deal. Sitting on my hands on this one. Um, Now I do see that we're starting to see a stronger move based off of it, and I think that may be just because the market is basically making a push a little bit early now. Um, because the market has opened up when it comes down to forex pairs as of yet. That will be your inner trend line. Currently, right now, I would not do anything once again until the market actually ends up breaking the trend line. But I did not take that trade yesterday, even though I did say, hey, if you got a counter trend line break, that could be a good one. But I did not like it. Wasn't enough of a retracement for me to be able to take it. Okay. All right. So if you like what we end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. For the people that keep on popping up constantly, I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. Hopefully, y'all gaining value in what we end up doing from a trading perspective. If you're interested in being able to learn how I end up going through and taking a look at everything from a trading perspective, what we do with the FRVX tours, what we end up doing from our automation systems and everything else like that, in the private chat, because I think all of y'all are friends of mine. Just go ahead, just send me a private message if you're interested in being able to hop inside of a free 1 hour webinar. Just type in your name and email address, and I make sure I end up getting you loaded in. I talk to you personally about being able to um, fitting you into a schedule or fitting you into a time that we have this week. I have a 7 o'clock tonight that we're going to end up doing something. So if you're interested in being able to do that, you're more than welcome to be able to do that. That'll be 1,900 hours for a 24-hour time. Um, and we end up going from there. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. I'll see each and every one of y'all in the 9 o'clock session tonight. Take it easy.